Sword Art Online is an anime series I've never found the time to binge. I've watched maybe 15 or 20 episodes and I don't remember a whole lot. So this review of the latest game in the series, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization, is coming from the perspective of someone with limited experience with the series. Absolutely not. I completely detest that notion. Most of the reviews I saw when this was first released remarked this game is really only for fans, and I disagree. I'm not a fan of the series because I haven't really seen most of the series. Hollow Realization does not require you to have prior knowledge. During the first few hours you go through several story segments that also give you the option to have a flashback and recap of events from the previous two games and the series as a whole, and people with prior knowledge can skip those segments entirely. It's an elegant solution to introduce new players and veterans alike. Having said that, fans of the series should be happy to see their favourite characters return, and they will probably notice some Easter eggs a person without experience with the series would. There is certainly a strong case for it. For those unfamiliar with the series, Sword Art Online is essentially about a virtual reality MMORPG. Players in real life got into a machine that gave full immersion, but when the game started, the players quickly found out the creator trapped them in the virtual reality machines and in the game until they could finish it, and dying in the game meant dying in real life. After these characters escaped this literal death trap of a game, they went back to a new version of it, and now they are back again. Back in virtual reality machines and back in an MMO made by the same developer. It is insanity, but for the moment at least, the new version of the game you play through in Sword Art Online Hollow Realization is called Sword Art Origins, and the characters are not in any immediate danger in real life. This is where I find the game more intriguing than someone with more Sword Art Online experience might. The way the characters talk, the terminology they use, and little tidbits here and there all feel like they are breaking the fourth wall. They aren't really though, because they are actually in a game, but they constantly talk about things like DPS and NPCs, raid bosses, etc, which makes it feel completely different from most other RPGs. You are playing a character that is fully aware they are playing a character in a video game. The story is predominantly about friendship and camaraderie. You'll meet old friends, make new friends, and experience the massive world of Aignground. However, without revealing any spoilers, the story evolves into one of mystery and discovery. You delve deeper into the game world, but also into the inner workings and code of the game itself. You find yourself doing a lot of things you would normally do in an MMORPG. There are lots of side quests you can do while out exploring or following the main storyline. You play as Kuroto and can have up to 3 friends in your party when you leave the main quest hub. You can choose old friends from the series and past games, or you can go ahead and make new friends. You can also romance other characters, if that's your thing, and in general you can influence just about every character in the game in some way. Combat is obviously where this game lives or dies. That's what you are going to be doing for the biggest chunk of your playtime, and there is no shortage of enemies to face. The world manages to feel like an open world even though it is made up of sections that flow into each other through loading screens. And each area you go is teeming with monsters. Regular monsters you can easily tackle, high level monsters, boss monsters, elite monsters, and all kinds of things can be found out in the world. There are also mini events you can trigger and massive raid bosses you might one day be able to tackle. The action combat system, for the most part, is very fun. It's a very reactive system, requiring you to dodge enemy attacks and coordinate your AI party members by shouting commands. You'll also string together combos and you will eventually build up a big sheet of abilities. The dodge mechanic is integral, and therein lies my first nitpick. It took me a good 2 or 3 hours to get used to its control scheme. To dodge something, you have to be physically holding the control stick the way you want to dodge before pressing the dodge button, which is R1 in this case. If you press R1 and then move back on the analog stick, you won't move. If you press both at the same time, you won't move. It definitely doesn't feel like the normal mechanic. I was much more used to holding the dodge button and then moving the analog stick the direction I wanted to dodge. Obviously muscle memory kept doing this, and every time I just stood completely still and took a big crab claw to the face. I did get used to it though, and somebody less set in their ways could get used to it a lot faster than I did. Yes and no. Once you're in the game, you have lots of options. All your gear and weapons are interchangeable, and you have a character progression system, and you get to choose your own skills and abilities, but, and here is my second nitpick. When you first boot the game up, you are given the option to create a character. The default state is Kirito from the anime, but you can change everything. You can customize the name, gender, height, weight, hair, eyes, face, basically everything. So I did. I made a kick-ass katana-wielding chick named Beatrix because we all know that female characters always get better animations. But I was quickly taken aback when I was referred to as a he. And not only that, in voiced cutscenes, I spoke with a man's voice. Thankfully, you can turn off just Kirito's voice for cutscenes in the settings to make this a little less jarring, but everybody still refers to you as a he, and you will continue to romance female characters just like you were a man. This story is really meant for Kirito, which is why I can't really understand why they have the create a character feature in the first place. Though I guess it doesn't take away from the experience either. In any case, it doesn't stop me from enjoying the game. The world being split up with loading screens should have lent itself to a very smooth experience, and for the most part that is true. Most of the time the game runs very smoothly and feels very fluid. On a handful of occasions there was a little bit of frame rate stuttering. This ceased within seconds though and wasn't really that noticeable. In a game littered with monsters, you would also expect a lot of pop-in, where the monsters appear to just pop into view because the game is still loading them when you reach the area. But again, for the most part, this does not happen. In almost every area, the monsters had loaded well before my view distance had reached them. The only times I could ever get a pop-in-like effect was on a very long and very straight bit of the world where I could see very far in the distance a couple of monsters loading. Absolutely. This game is huge. There is so much to do and so much to experience. And besides, the only other way you're going to get the Sword Art Online experience is by paying thousands of dollars for a full-body virtual reality system, and then you run the risk of a madman trapping you in there to fight for your life. So really, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization is a small price to pay. Sword Art Online Hollow Realization gets a solid 8 out of 10 from me. The story was very refreshing, especially for a non-Sword Art Online fan like myself. There is plenty of content and a great sense of progression, and after you get used to the intricacies, the combat is very engaging and a whole lot of fun. Thanks for watching. If you like this review, hit that like button, or the dislike one if you didn't. Subscribe for my eternal love, and jump down in the comment section and tell me what your favourite anime is. I love getting to know you guys. You should also consider following me on social media for the latest updates. It allows me to communicate with everybody more directly, stuff like my recent illness that slowed my content schedule down a little bit. To help support my channel, please use the Amazon links in the description when making purchases, or you can give some of their services a free trial. Get yourself some free audiobooks with Audible that are yours to keep, or get access to unlimited ebooks for 30 days with Kindle. Other than that, I will see you all soon.